Good morning. Good morning. Yes. One, two, three. Check. One, two. Okay. Basically, good morning, and it's today is Tuesday, and we're in the 9th of December. Good morning, and we'll continue reading Kierkegaard's Discourses, which were published under his name, and which are to be taken very seriously. Contrary to the other writings he wrote under the pseudonyms Victor Eremita and Johannes de Silencio. This one is published under his own name. Strengthening the inner being. Only a thoughtless soul can let everything around it change, give itself up as a willing prey to life's fickle, capricious changes without being alarmed by such a world, without being concerned for itself. How unworthy and nauseating such a life is! How far such a life is from witnessing to the human being's highest dignity. Destiny, actually. To be the ruler of creation. If the human being is to rule, then there must be an order in the world. Otherwise, it would be mockery of him to assign him to control brute forces that obey no law. And if he is no rule, then there must be a law within him also. Otherwise, he would be incapable of ruling. Either he would disturbingly interfere, or it would be left to chance whether he ruled wisely or not. If this were the case, then the human being would be so far from being the ruler of creation that creation might wish instead that he did not exist at all. Therefore, just as soon as a person collects himself in a more understanding consideration of life, he seeks to assure himself of a coherence in everything, and as the ruler of creation, he approaches it, as it were, with a question, extorts an explanation from it, demands a testimony. Only the person who has obtained his soul, who has abandoned his soul to worldly appetites, who has chosen the glittering bondage of pleasure and has not managed to extricate himself from its light-minded or heavy-spirited anxiety, only he is satisfied to let the creation bear its witness so that he can shrewdly and prudently use it in the service of the moment. And since the human being is the ruler of creation, it obeys even the unworthy authority. How doleful is such a perdition that does not even think it is living tirelessly, but instead thinks that it understands everything, and in its heart aberration thinks it is turning everything to its advantage. When he sees the red sunset in the evening, he says, "Tomorrow will be a beautiful day." But when he sees the early morning sky red and darkening, he says, "Today there will be a storm." For he knows that how to judge the sky, the weather, and the wind. Therefore, he says, "Today or tomorrow I will go to this or that city and stay there a year and bargain and reap profits." This is taken from the Gospel, okay? When he cultivates his soil intelligently, he counts on a rich yield. His eyes gleam at the sight of the rich corpse, or what he may have thoughtlessly called the blessed fruit. He hastily builds his barns larger, again from the Gospel, since it is easy to predict that the old one cannot hold this abundance. Then he is secure and happy. I think he's being sarcastic now, Kierkegaard. Praises existence and goes to bed, but then the text reads, again referring to the Gospels, "The night I will require your soul from you." And here we have the Gospel. So basically is the story. I don't know where it was found in the Bible, just Google it if you are interested. And it is the story of this man. It's not a story, it's a parable that Jesus said of this man that had plenty of food in his meadows and stored it. The next year he had even more, and he said, "Okay, I'll build even more stores." And he thought it would make him happy. He thought that he would be secure. He thought that he will no longer need God because he has all the food he needs. When? In the Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. See? Jesus wants us to acknowledge that Jesus is giving our bread, not ourselves, because he's God and we're human. His soul from him. Okay, he's dying now, this guy. Is that not asking too much? I wonder if he would understand it. Nothing is said of the rich crops or of the newly created barns, but what is mentioned is perhaps something he forgot in all this, that he has a soul. But the person who reflects on life with any earnestness at all readily perceives that he is not the Lord in such a way that he is not also a servant. That is not his superior intelligence alone that distinguishes man from the animals. Only the person who cravingly runs away from every more profound explanation, who does not have the courage to assume the responsibility of the master by submitting to the obligation of a servant, who does not have the humility to be willing to obey in order to learn how to rule, and at all times is willing to rule only insofar as he himself obeys. Only he rules. He fills time with perpetual deliberation that takes him nowhere but only serve as a dissipation in which his soul, his capacity for comprehending and willing, vanishes like mist, and is extinguished like a flame. How doleful such a self-consuming, how far from witnessing by life, from giving expression in his life to a human being's exalted destiny, to be God's co-worker. That's the destiny of man. See? Because of order, because of we are created in the image and likeness of God. Basically, it's mentioned. Okay. Nothing. And continue. Through every deeper reflection that makes him older than the moment and lets him grasp the eternal, a person assures himself that he has an actual relation to a world, and that consequently this relation cannot be mere knowledge about this world and about himself as a part of it, since such knowledge is no reason, simply because in this knowledge he himself is indifferent toward this world, and this world is indifferent through his knowledge of it. Not until the moment when there awakens in his soul a concern about what meaning due to world has for him, and he is for the world about that meaning, everything within him by which he himself belongs to the world has for him, and therein for the world, only then does the inner being announce its presence in the concern. This concern is not calmed by a more detailed or a more comprehensive knowledge. It craves another kind of knowledge, a knowledge that does not remain as knowledge for a single moment, but is transformed into an action the moment it is possessed, since otherwise it is not possessed. This concern also carves an explanation, a witness, but of another kind. If in his knowledge a person could know everything but knew nothing of the relation of this knowledge to himself, then in this effort to assure himself of the relation of his knowledge to the object, it probably would have demanded a witness, but he would not have comprehended that a completely different witness is required, and then the concern would still not have been awakened in his soul. As soon as this awakens, his knowledge will prove to be comfortless, because our knowledge is which a person vanishes from health, just as any explanation provided by knowledge of this kind is equivocal, explains now this and now that, and can mean the opposite, just as any witness of this kind, precisely when it witnesses, is full of deceit and riddles and endangers anxiety. How indeed would a person, through this knowledge, be sure that his prosperity is God's grace, so that he dares to rejoin in it and safely devote himself to it? Or what is it, God's wrath, and is only deceitfully hiding the abyss of perdition from him, so that his downfall might be all the more terrible? How would a person, through this knowledge, be sure that adversity is heaven's punishment, so that he can allow himself to become crushed by it, or that it is God's love which loves him in the ordeal, so that he, dauntless and confident in the distress of temptation, may reflect upon love? How would a person, through such knowledge, be sure that he was placed high in the world and trusted with much because in him God loved his chosen instrument, or that it was because he was supposed to become a proverb to people, a warning, a terror to others? His knowledge can certainly assure him that everything is going well for him, that everything accommodates itself to him, that everything happens as he wishes, that everything he points is to given to him, but everything goes wrong from him. You see how limited we are? How extremely because you don't see that coming. We don't know if I die tomorrow, today, or the year after, or 20 years from now, but at some point I will be called to heaven, or hell, or purgatory, the three options. So we're very limited, and we'd better use time wisely while we have it. As we are very limited again, and I can easily do the same thing as this man, I will say, like, I have 50,000 euros in my bank account, I'm so good, I don't need anyone else. It's not what God wants from me. Doesn't God want that God? And we're on page 87. It's been 12 minutes, okay, good. I think we'd better shorten these videos to 15 minutes approximately, because 30 minutes is too long. So it's 13 minutes into this chapter, Upbuilding Discourses, and I write everything down so that we can keep record of what we are reading. So basically what we've been doing was reading through two discourses. This is about discourses. One, love covers a multitude of sins, and the one which we have been reading right now was strengthening the inner being. Today, 9th December 2025. Good morning, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Good morning.